Have you ever felt like you're losing the day before it's even really started? Well, today we're going to dive into this fascinating 6-month experiment by a writer named Utsuk Agrawal. He took 10 super simple morning habits and used them to completely turn his life around. And the results? Well, in his own words, they were absolutely unreal. But before we get to that amazing transformation, let's talk about the problem. It's a feeling I think a lot of us know all too well. It's that sense that you're waking up already playing catch-up, constantly just reacting to your day instead of actually being the one in the driver's seat. And this quote from Agrawal just nails his before state. This wasn't some big, dramatic burnout. It was something quieter, like a slow, steady leak of his energy, his focus, and his potential. He knew he could do more, but he just couldn't seem to find the on switch. Yeah, that feeling your day gets totally hijacked by other people's emergencies before you've even had that first sip of coffee? So this is what it actually looked like in practice for him. Hitting snooze 3, maybe 4 times, mindlessly scrolling through social media while still under the covers, and just starting the day feeling off from the very beginning. Draining your most valuable resources before you've even had a chance to use them. So faced with this reality, Agrawal decided to try something pretty radical, but not some crazy 47-step miracle routine from a productivity guru. Nope, it was a disciplined 6-month experiment built on the quiet, incredible power of small, consistent actions. And this right here is the core idea behind the entire thing, the compound effect. The idea isn't about one single heroic effort. It's about how these tiny, repeatable habits, kind of like drops of water, just build on each other day after day until they create this massive, unstoppable wave of change. And the rules? They were brutally simple, but so powerful. 6 months, 10 habits, every single day. No exceptions, no loopholes, no, oh, I'll just make up for it tomorrow. This absolute commitment was the secret sauce to the entire thing. So, what were these magical habits? Let's take a look at the 10 small actions that, when you put them all together, created this unshakable foundation for his entire day. And just looking at the first 6 here gives you an idea of how practical and honestly doable these are. We're not talking about running a marathon before breakfast or anything crazy. We're talking about simple, intentional choices that really anyone can make. So let's zoom in on a few of the most important ones. Okay, the contrast here is just wow. Waking up with your phone is basically a neurological nightmare. That immediate flood of notifications and bad news, it spikes your cortisol, that's your stress hormone, and puts your brain on the defensive right away. By just swapping his phone for a cheap alarm clock, Agrawal found his morning anxiety just plummeted. He finally started the day on his own terms. This next one, it sounds so trivial, right? Make your bed. But the psychology behind this is absolutely brilliant. It's not about being tidy. It's about getting a concrete, physical task done within minutes of waking up. That one small, undeniable win sends a powerful message to your brain. Hey, we get things done. And that is how you start building momentum. Now, this habit is just pure, simple science. Getting sunlight in your eyes before you have any caffeine anchors your body's internal clock, your circadian rhythm. And the result for him? He started falling asleep faster, he was waking up naturally before his alarm, and those awful mid-afternoon energy crashes, they just completely vanished. All right, now for one of the most powerful habits of them all, banning fake work. Stuff like clearing out his inbox or checking analytics before 10 a.m. Instead, he used his freshest, most potent brain power on the really deep, heavy lifting tasks. And the result? His output literally doubled without working a single extra hour. Think about that. So what happens when you stack these small, intentional habits day after day for 6 straight months? Well, that's when the magic of that compound effect really kicks in, and it takes you from these small daily improvements to a whole new reality. Just look at the change here. He went from being reactive and anxious to intentional and calm, from feeling drained and lacking self-trust to being energized and deeply confident. It wasn't one miracle habit that did it. It was the entire system of all 10 working together that created this incredible shift. So why is this system so darn effective? It really comes down to simple psychology. You're giving yourself these early wins, which triggers dopamine in your brain and makes you want to do more productive things. You're getting back precious mental energy by automating good decisions. And most importantly, you're rooting your day in your own intentions, shifting from just reacting to your life to actively directing it. The best part about this whole thing is just how accessible it is. You don't have to be a productivity master to do this. So let's talk about how you can actually begin this journey without feeling totally overwhelmed.
Okay, this is probably the most crucial piece of advice right here. Don't, and I mean don't, try all 10 habits at once. You'll just burn out. Instead, start small, like really small. Pick just 2 for the first week, maybe no phone and a glass of water. Once those feel automatic, then you add another one. The goal is not perfection. It's all about consistency over time.
Ultimately, this whole experiment led Agarwal to this new, much more powerful definition of what it means to be unstoppable. See, it's not about hustle and grind 24/7. It's about building this incredible foundation of small, quiet wins that gives you the momentum and the resilience to handle pretty much whatever life decides to throw at you. And that brings us to the end. So this last question isn't for me, it's for you. Looking at this list, which single easy habit are you going to commit to trying for just the next 7 days? Pick one. You might be absolutely amazed by how much that one small change can make. Thanks for tuning in.